What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Straight Shoot. Khan has the day off, and I found, I think, a very suitable replacement for the conversation that we're having today. Malcolm, Muscle Man Malcolm, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to Straight Shoot, brother.
Yo, how's it going, man? I'm so happy to be here. Like, this is my favorite wrestling podcast, so, I gotta show up for the one time, but I'm so excited to be here, man. How are you?
Nah, dude, I'm good. And thank you so much for answering the DM on this one, because I think for both of our careers and the things that we have done and the people that we have met, this conversation is the conversation that you and I should have together. And that conversation is our boy, Juicy, Mr. Jacob Fatu, stuns the Allstate Arena in Chicago and destroys, oh, look at that, and destroys the three biggest baby faces on Friday Night SmackDown. First reaction.
My first reaction was I missed SmackDown, and I looked at it at 2 a.m. I just didn't think anything was going to happen, so I was like, I don't need to watch SmackDown tonight. So then I wake up at 2 a.m. randomly, and I go into the group chat, and someone's like, yo, Jacob showed up. I'm like, you're tripping. Nah, that's going to be in a couple of weeks probably. I go on Twitter. I'm like, oh, dang it, I missed it. But still, watching the clip itself was crazy. I mean, he took out three of the biggest names in WWE, all former world champions, the current WWE champion as well. Like, the dude looked like a beast. He lost some weight, so he's looking even more shredded. Like, yep. I'm just excited for like what's going to happen and just seeing the aura that he brings to WWE and just around himself as well.
I'm really glad you said that. You mentioned aura that he brings. Now, we know the lineage. We know who his dad is in the Tonga Kid. We know who his uncles are in Afa and Sika, the Wild Samoans. How do you feel the representation that Jacob brings to WWE now for what his career has been with, Reality of Wrestling, New Japan, GCW, and MLW, where he, like his cousin, was one of the longest reigning champions ever in MLW history? What does Jacob Fatu bring that is different than everyone else from the lineage of the bloodline, the Anoa'i family?
I think he brings a lot of what like the classic Anoa'i like bloodline members bring as well. It's like just that sense of danger, Like, I feel like when I watch like someone like Yokozuna wrestle, I'm like, his opponent is in danger because like that's a big boy. I think like the Sultan I like the Sultan person. Some people didn't like the gimmick, but like to me, I felt like he was like a dangerous guy. Mm-hmm. And obviously we can go Umaga. Like, he brings danger to the ring. I feel like Jacob brings that exact same kind of energy that those guys bring as well, just given his size and agility. He's going to shine so far in this company. It's going to be amazing. But there's so many matches that he's going to have that is going to feel dangerous for his opponent. Like, if he gets in the ring with like an Akira Tozawa or something, he is like, you feel scared for Akira that he might actually injure this man real life. Like, it's going to be great.
And again, another great lead into my next question. You said the matches that he could have. Now, first off, I think you and I both agree within a year, Jacob Fatu has the title on him.
Yes.
Hands down. Yes. What are some of the dream matches that you want to see with Jacob Fatu in WWE? Could be Raw, could be SmackDown, hell, could be NXT, could be TNA at this point. Who do you want to see Jacob face? Top three.
So the first one has to be the greatest pro wrestler walking the face of the earth, Omos, because Omos is big. And that's literally the end of my sentence for that one. Moving on to the next one. We have Obafemi. A seasoned Obafemi on the main roster against Jacob Fatu would be amazing. I would be scared to be the referee within that match. And the final one I have, personally, I think this is actually like very possible in the near future. I think Jacob Fatu does with the United States Championship what Gunther did with the Intercontinental. Now, I think he beats the brakes off of LA Knight. Let's say LA wins the title at SummerSlam. He becomes the U.S. champion. He makes that title just as prestigious as the Intercontinental. So LA Knight, Obafemi, and of course the greatest of all time, Omos.
Oh, so you're an Homo sapien, eh?
I'm the Homo sapien.
It's kind of funny. I got to meet him at Titus's restaurant in Tampa during the Royal Rumble, the night after the Royal Rumble. and it was Omos, Big E, MVP, and I can't remember who the fourth one was. That they all just walked in right past it. I'm like, what's up? And I'm like looking up. Dude, I'm 5'8". Man is like a giant. And he was just like, so shook my hand, kept I was like
he's like the nicest guy too.
He's so nice.
He's so tall. Like I didn't realize when I was gonna interview him. Luckily got a chance to interview him during Royal Rumble weekend as well. And then obviously you know how massive he is, but like when you see him walk around the corner, you're like, what is that? How are you that big?
Like, what did you eat?
Like trying to interview him, like my tripod wouldn't go up high enough, so my guy that was holding it had to like tip the tripod back more just to get Omos in the shot. And I'm like, that's crazy. I should have bought a bigger tripod.
That's hilarious. That's wild.
He was so big. But yeah, man.
So do you think Jacob could get the pop-up Samoan drop on Omos?
Oh, this is a great conversation. Yes, 100%.
Really?
Because I feel like if you throw him hard enough, like his feet will leave the air. I don't think it'll look like super pretty.
No.
I think Omos's feet might leave like the air by this much.
Yeah.
Because like he's just a long guy. Pause. But like if he gets him up just a little bit, he could immediately just drop him. And like it would, oh my God, that's numbers.
Well,
that's world star
level. We did see Jacob do a feat of strength that not many people know. If you are just, no disrespect, if you are a casual and you're not a big wrestling fan and you don't watch the indies, Jacob Fatu is notoriously known for the pop-up Samoan drop on Bronson Reed there. And Bronson Reed, what event was that again? Because that was a couple of years ago. House of Glory. So that was Bronson was like 350 back then.
I believe that.
And it wasn't pretty, but he made it look as pretty as possible. But let's go back to SmackDown for a second. Being that we both are, invested in Jacob's career and obviously Zilla Fatu as well, and we'll get to him in a sec. Did you get to the chance to reach out to him? Did you send him a message? Did you say, like, did you have any communication with him? How'd that go?
I can't remember if he actually responded. I did text Jacob after I found out that he debuted. I was like, dude, I'm just so proud of you. I knew this was gonna happen. Obviously, like he signed back a while ago. I think it's already been reported, so we can say it.
Yeah.
Like he signed back during like WrestleMania weekend. Like everyone is now aware of that follows like online content and whatnot. But just to like be in anticipation for so many months, you're like, it could happen here. It could happen here. I was told by one of his family members that it was gonna happen at Clash, but it didn't happen there. I'm like, oh. Then they told me it was gonna happen a few weeks before that as well. It's like, but it didn't happen there. So I'm like, is bro ever gonna show up? Like,
yeah.
Where's he gonna show up, man? But just to see him like actually like be present in a WWE ring, like for me, it's just like not him beating up Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. It's just like watching him actually enter a legitimate like WWE ring. To me, was like the most like mind blowing thing possible.
Yeah.
I grew up at this point now watching Jacob and at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Like everyone thinks that arena's for ECW. I think it's for MLW.
Yep.
And watching Jacob and Hammerstone and whatnot tear it up, like it's crazy to see that guy from that moment now being on SmackDown in this crazy crowd in Chicago. Like it's so mind-boggling, and I'm just so proud of the dude.
Yeah, I'm of the same sentiment. I am so proud of him. Just to see how he got his body right. It looks like his mind is right. Even though everyone sees this scary, wild Samoan, like that just, that typical Jacob Fatu grin. But outside of professional wrestling, like I am so proud of just the man that he has become. And I think, and you might have the same sentiment. It's a long overdue reward for years and years of hard work and dedication.
I think people are going to realize that he's like, if you look at this picture, which you can obviously throw another photo up, but like he looks like a scary human being, like a very terrifying soul, but like he's also the funniest person that you may ever meet. Like I remember a story when Zilla debuted, because I was at the show for Reality Wrestling in Texas, Summer Champions. I'm like filming Zilla walk out and the crowd's going crazy. And I just turn around and it's just Jacob standing on top of a chair, just dancing and like just living his best life. Zilla's mom as well was also standing on a chair and dancing.
Gotta love Mama Zilla. Gotta love Mama Zilla.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She's so cool. She was like, "Oh, you're part of the family." I'm like, "Can I say oos now?"
Dude, is that not the weirdest thing? Like, is that not the weirdest thing when you like have to ask, "Hey, can I say oos?" Like, yeah, can I say uso?
I don't know. I was like, y'all put it on t-shirts, but I still don't know if that's offensive or not.
Dude, in January when I was at the Royal Rumble, so I had a massive Airbnb. Like, it was ridiculous. And Zilla goes, yeah, we're going to tap in. Because I said, when I interviewed Zilla last year, this is how it all became. I said to him, I said, when you have your first big match, I will be there. It doesn't matter where it is. And he goes, I'm debuting in GCW with Jacob. Come down. I'm like, cool. So I got this massive Airbnb. It was like 4 bedrooms. It slept like 10. But it was super cheap. It was like $100 a night. I was like, this is awesome. So yeah. So Zilla goes, yo, can I tap in? Come through. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So Zilla showed up and he goes, do you mind if I just stay? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, feel free. And then he goes, do you mind if Jacob rolls through too? And I'm like, no, not at all. So
yep, like no, he can't.
So they roll through, and then I guess Mama Zilla knew that I was gonna be there and knew like I was taking care of his son type of thing. So they gave me a pula, like not like the ulafalu that Roman wears, but it was like a smaller one that Zilla normally goes to the ring in. So they gave me one. They honorary Oos blessed, and they still run with this moniker with me. So I'm like, am I allowed to say Oos now? And he goes, yes, Oos. That's all you can call me now. I don't want to hear none of this bro shit. And I'm like, all right, Uso it is.
I was like, I remember the first time I don't know who I asked first. It could have been Lance, honestly. I don't know exactly which guy I asked. But I remember like at IHOP once with Zilla a few months ago. I was like, is that a bad word? Is that like saying this? My word, like is that wrong? Like, no, you can say it. I'm like, oos. don't smack me.
Hey, have you taken a chop from him yet?
No, I don't want to.
I did.
No, I'm good.
I did. That's a story I can't tell on the recording, but we will talk about that after. But yeah, I did, and never again. Never again.
I would not.
Let's talk about you for a second. You have so many connections in the wrestling industry. You've been blessed to do media. You've gotten those connections. You've interviewed so many people. You got a couple of big things coming up too. Are you getting in the ring?
Yeah, you know, there's this. Can I curse here? Or
fucking right, you can.
Yeah. So I'm wrestling this really big bitch. His name is AJ Francis. He decided to smack me after I made a very simple joke. We have been pals for years now. the fact that this man decided to put his hands on me and I didn't knock him out on sight, I just, was hurt because my feelings were hurt more than anything else. And because he did that to me, I feel like I have to then put my hands back on him. Yes, Diddy. And it will be great. On August 24th, Brooklyn, New York, Jobber Slam 4, me versus AJ. It's going to be like 2 big black hogs running into each other. That's how I like to describe it. People ask.
Meat, and more meat. Now, here's the problem with this situation. Mm-hmm. Another very good friend of mine in the wrestling industry is AJ Francis. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about this because you kind of deserve that slap.
I did not deserve that.
I don't know, man.
The amount of things he calls me off camera, I feel like I could easily say flop dollar and it's not a big deal. After he says everything else under the sun to me, I make one little joke and he decides to smack me on camera. No, I don't deserve that at all. It was a simplistic joke. So I'm sorry that he's a child that couldn't take it. And now I got to put the pause on him on August 24th.
Fair enough. I think he was just letting out a little bit of Michael Cole aggression, but we can leave it at that. I can't hate on AJ. That man got me in front of Drew McIntyre, who is arguably my favorite wrestler currently on the planet. So I have so many thanks to give him. But you know what? August 24th, we're gonna see who comes out on top. No pun intended. But I'm looking forward to that. Hey, maybe I'll even make the drive. Brooklyn's only about a 6-hour drive for me. So
hey, man, you should. I mean, like I know like every creator loves AJ nowadays, but AJ, I was a #1 guy. All right, who was talking about Hit Row? Only me, literally only me. Ain't no one else was talking about Hit Row. So I don't want to hear all this crap. Every creator loves him, so they're all gonna defend him. Boo hoo, bull crap. I want to smack the hell out of AJ. So your friend is gonna get killed during that match. Like,
Fair enough.
It's gonna happen.
Fair enough. I think I'm gonna have to go to Brooklyn at the end of August. But let's get back to the Fatus.
Yes.
And we've talked about Jacob. We both come to the understanding that at the end of the day, Jacob has the landscape in WWE changed because of Jacob debuting. Because I don't think, next to maybe Braun Breaker, that anyone on the current roster has the size Jacob has, but the abilities that he has as like almost like a luchador. Like he knows how to move like a luchador. It's wild. It's almost mind-boggling to see a man his size do what he can do in the ring. First question, has the landscape for the entire roster changed? Because when Jacob gets in the ring, also you and I knowing him outside of professional wrestling and what he's wrestling for, he commits 150% to every match. I'm not saying other wrestlers don't. It's just, it's almost like it means more to him when he's in the ring. Has the landscape changed, and will Jacob outshine the rest of this new current regime because of his mindset?
Landscape wise, yes, it's definitely changed. I mean, I feel like it's changed. I think Jacob is a big leading factor. I think we'll see more of that going down the line. Obviously, he's only had one appearance, but I think guys like him, guys like Breaker, and I mean, you could fill in the rest. You could pull any guy from NXT and use them as well. Even like a Carmelo Hayes as well.
Yep.
Like those guys commit so hard to what they're doing that I'm kind of repeating exactly what you said. Like he does give 1,000%, 150%, whatever to what he's doing in the ring. Cause like he's very laid back when he's like backstage or whatever. And then he walks out. You're like, this guy looks psycho. He may hurt anyone, fans included.
Yep.
Like there's an aura around this guy that it's hard to deny,
Yeah.
That's why he's getting such a giant like standing ovation from people that probably don't even know who he is, are already like the biggest Jacob Fatu fans. There's so many people I see online that are magically now big Jacob Fatu fans. I'm like, I've never seen you ever talk about him. And that's okay because like he deserves this ovation. So like, please give it to him. But I'm like, they don't even know a single match if you probably ask them, but they know the aura around this guy. You're like, yeah, he's someone special. Let me jump on the bandwagon right now while I can, brother. But what was your second question? Does he outshine the rest of the bloodline?
So there was a concern and a rumor. I think even Fightful dropped it at one point. Shout out Sean Rossap. But I think even Fightful dropped it saying that they held Jacob back because they were scared he was going to outshine Solo. I don't see that being a bad thing personally. I want to get your idea on it. For me, outshining someone makes someone do better work.
It does. Like, you are right. It does. If WWE did think he was going to outshine Solo, like, let's assume that's correct. Because we gotta assume they're correct. I feel like, yes, that would make Solo work harder. And I personally don't think he outshines Solo because I think they're just in different lanes personally.
Yes.
I understand the comparison because like they both have like a very Umaga style of wrestling, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can understand where the sentiment comes from, but I just think Solo's role in WWE right now is to still be the second guy because he's the tribal chief, but like he knows he's not actually because there's Roman Reigns, because there's also The Rock. If you want to count him as well. Jacob's role isn't to be a second tribal chief. It's to literally be a henchman for now. And we'll see where that goes. Like, I just think it's just, they play such different roles. I think people just want to compare them because they're related.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally just think they're in different like lanes. But if that inspires Solo, if that inspires Jacob to both do better at the same time, then it's only going to be like more successful. So like, if we get that rumored Cody and Solo match at SummerSlam, you best believe Solo's going to put in like 1,000% effort because he doesn't want to be outshined by his cousin who just showed up in one appearance and now is like the biggest star of the company.
Yeah. Did you get your shirt yet?
I bought 2, so I made my girlfriend get one as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got mine too, but it's not shipping anytime soon. I already got my package from the other stuff I got, but the Jacob one's still delayed. But I think they actually made an amazing creation with that image. It was actually one of his the guys from Zilla's team that actually helped with that design. Speaking of Umaga and speaking of Zilla, we can't have this conversation without talking about the potential future of WWE. Yeah. And with one of the hottest independent wrestlers on the planet right now, everyone talks about him. There's signs for him in WWE already in the crowd. There is rumor mills going crazy, and it's kind of funny because you and I sit here and we're like, you know, let me call him and let me call him and check, you know. But like, the rumor mill is flowing with, Zilla Fatu is about to debut in WWE. We know, both of us, that he's about a year out.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Where does Zilla fit in this new regime of pro wrestling under the Triple H era with the Bloodline story? If they decided to fast track him, where does he fit?
I think he takes a very similar route to Solo, not in the sense of taking that role that he has like with Roman, but I think that going to NXT, having a little dominant run there, and then jumping to the main roster, because he's young. So like you can really just build him. Like he's not like, 35, 36, whatever, coming into like WWE. Like he's my age. We're both 24. Like he's very young. Yeah. So I feel like whenever he gets signed, which I assume will be within the next calendar year.
Yeah.
I say put him in NXT. I don't see why you could build that brand around him. I mean, you could really make him not just an NXT champion, but really just like the guy that's a face of NXT, like a Finn Balor or a Nakamura type of wrestler. Where like, I don't think he has to necessarily go straight to the Bloodline very quickly, but I think maybe a few months down there, builds the brand around him, and then you send them up, and then we're probably around like, SummerSlam, Survivor Series like next year.
Yeah.
Especially SummerSlam being 2 nights next year as well, or is it 2020?
It's 26.
Oh, whatever. Close enough. We'll get to it eventually. But still, like, there's a role for him on the main roster. I just think he needs the NXT experience because, again, he's just young. He's new to it. It's not like Jacob, who's been doing it for like 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with that, because you look at the people that would be around him in NXT. It's not very different than being at Raw for him, because he's got Booker T, who's very hands-on in the NXT Performance Center. He's got his friend and his boy Trick Williams, obviously doing big things, both H-Town boys. And then you also got like Roxanne Perez, who he's tapped in with. So I really think the NXT run, I would love to see him take the title from Trick. Let's go that crazy and have 2 Houston boys and find a way to intermingle that, because I think it would be a very respectable and comforting way of bringing him in with like one of his boys and have that kind of that turn, Trick with his arm around Zilla, and then sooner or later, like, he just turns. Like we've seen the Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, the end of the Rockers, that would be an awesome way, I think, of just doing that. But the NXT run, I agree. I just think it's very difficult to bring someone with his aura. We've mentioned Jacob's aura. Zilla has it too. For like how young he is, it's actually scary. Like, I don't know if you've been to an event backstage, but like the second he's starting to tape up, you feel everything change.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Jacob, but for a guy who's had no more than 20 matches professionally, and that you feel that, and you feel it in the locker room too. Like, I was around like Mance Warner, Effie, there was what's his name, Javon Evans. They were all in the locker room, and it was just this weird aura around Zilla that it's just like, oh shit, okay, he's tapped in now.
Yeah.
It's going to be dangerous for WWE to bring him into NXT, because they know where every fan's mindset. You said everyone is a Jacob Fatu fan right now. Guess what? The second Zilla shows up,
the same thing.
Everyone is going to be a Zilla Fatu fan. So how do they get past that and put him just in the Performance Center? Is there a way to have him do both?
To tap in on the aura part. So I was backstage for his debut. So this is like the first time he's ever wrestling on camera, you know, in front of a crowd, etc. To see him come out of like the main locker room part, he's already suited up and whatever. I feel like I was about to watch like an NFL game, and I just saw like the biggest linebacker just put on all his gear and throw the helmet on and whatnot. Like it was so weird because this guy has never wrestled before.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, you're like, this is going to be the coolest match on the card. And it kind of was. And like Jacob's also backstage as well. And it's like, and you can see Jacob kind of just backing up and just letting all the aura just kind of be around Zilla in that moment. It was crazy to see. But what was the other half of your question? Sorry.
It's how does WWE manage something like that? If they bring him to the Performance Center, even though he is learning and he'll want to learn, we both know him, he wants to be in the ring, get those reps in, it's going to be very difficult with the fans wanting him in this bloodline story. We already see it. Zilla Fatu is debuting next, like it's wild to think. And so how do they manage it?
I think you put other guys in that family also in NXT, and maybe have like an NXT version of the bloodline. I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
No, it's
like,
fair.
There's guys that are also in that family that are still wrestling that like I wouldn't put them straight to the main roster. I would put them on NXT for a little bit just to like get like that notoriety with the crowd.
Yep.
Him and Lance Anawadi would be great because like Lance is a guy that has a lot of experience, 14 years experience. I feel like NXT would help him just establish his name with that NXT crowd, the WWE crowd. Maybe in a tag team like that.
Yeah.
And just build from there. Maybe bring in another guy who I'm just like forgetting other people right now. But
yeah, you could look at Juicy, you could look at Hikuleo, you could look at, there's so many. And
like have an NXT bloodline almost. Like that would be my ideal situation personally, because I think there's other guys that also deserve to be there just as much as Zilla.
Yeah.
But I also understand the popularity of Zilla is just different right now. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Numbers just don't lie. Yeah, I think that's how you do it, just to like make him feel like a star, but also protecting him with other guys that have a lot more experience than him. That way they can help. When he gets in the ring, it's always a big moment versus like him trying to get in there. Maybe he looks a little newer than someone else putting him on a headlock or doing a clothesline or whatever,
No, I think that's a great way and a great answer to that. So you and I got to experience a GCW show together the weekend of the Royal Rumble. Jacob and Zilla were not the main event. I think they went on number 5 for that match. And you and I were both standing in different areas of the arena that entire night, and we've spoken again about their aura. The loudest part of that night was Jacob and Zilla in the ring, their entrance, the entire match. And after, it kind of felt like it died off, like that was the main event. And nothing against Brett, like I love Brett, nothing against Brett, but like I just feel, and I don't know if you felt it, something changed in just the perception of the crowd. You felt like you were at a Royal Rumble weekend event for that 13 minutes of
to the point to add to that. I left after that match because to me, I didn't need to, and there's nothing against the rest of the card. I honestly can't remember who else was on that card that night. I know AJ wrestled.
AJ had Leo Rush.
Leo Rush was on the card. Because to me, I saw everyone that I needed to watch. I saw Leo wrestle. I saw AJ, because Leo's a great friend of mine. I saw AJ wrestle, who I literally left with after the show because he had something else he had to do. So I literally just went with AJ. And then I saw Zilla and Jacob. I was like, I feel satisfied for watching the show. Like I saw the 3 like bullet points I needed to see. I'm good. Yeah. And like the crowd was crazy for that match, and like all the cool things they were doing. That was that Zilla hitting the double
Samoan drop, which I will say Jacob did help a little bit. You run that back, you got Jacob holding the one guy up. But the feat of strength for that. Also Jacob no selling the chair shot, Zilla no selling the door shot. Like it was just a great match. But like again, going back to aura, like when you guys, anyone watching this, when you get to experience, first off, if you've ever been to a pro wrestling event, when the bloodline's out there, it's a different aura. And you know why people talk about potentially Roman being the greatest of all time. It changes. Something changes in the atmosphere when Roman's out. But when Jacob and Zilla are in the ring, you feel like you're watching like that old school 80s style wrestling that we don't get anymore, mixed with the Attitude Era, mixed with Lucha Underground, and like everything just combined with these two guys. So I really think, to wrap this all up, if you haven't had the privilege of watching GCW with Zilla Fatu or Rowe, or getting to experience Jacob Fatu, make sure you pay attention. I think that's the biggest thing. If you get that opportunity, watch these guys, because this is the future of professional wrestling. If you guys are in Houston this weekend, this video is definitely going to be up before that event. Zilla is fighting Mance Warner in a Houston street fight in his hometown of Houston, Texas. So if you're there, make sure you try and get your GCW tickets. Cheap plug. They didn't pay me for that. And then Malcolm, tell us what you got going on, minus the August match, because we already hit on that. Don't hurt my boy too bad, okay? I might have to, like I said, I'm gonna have to come down to Brooklyn and take care of some business if I have to. But no, tell us what you got going on. What events are you going to? Who are you talking to? Who are you tapping in with? What's going on with you for the next couple of months?
Yeah, man, I got a lot going on. Obviously, I'm going to injure AJ Francis on August 24th in Brooklyn. But besides that, I'm training for that currently. I have a big documentary dropping in August as well. It's about Lance Anoa'i. That's going to be great. I've been traveling with him the last couple of months to all of the shows, and just highlighting another guy that also deserves that same level of credibility that like Zilla's getting, that Jacob's getting as well. I got that coming up. I always got some great guests coming on from Muscle Memory. You're one of them. You're on the queue. I don't know when it's dropping, but it's gonna drop eventually, man. I got some other great guys as well. Got Reggie or Reginald.
Yep.
It's a sommelier, if you will. I had Matt Riddle. He's gonna be on. I have some other cool names coming up as well. I'm just trying to make it out here in this business.
I hear you, brother.
I'm just flying, interviewing, sleeping in airports, and flying home. That's pretty much how I spend all my weekends, man.
God damn.
It's just I'm grinding. I'll be at all these other events. I'll probably be at SummerSlam. So if you guys are going to be in Cleveland, I'll be there. And just look for a guy with a top hat or some kind of stupid dad hat, and that's me probably.
Fair enough, brother. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for joining on, coming on a Straight Shoot, because I think this conversation had to be had, and I think we were, no disrespect to Khan, I love him to death, but I think for this one, we know Jacob very well, we know Zilla very well, and I am just, again, I almost feel like a proud dad. I am a dad, but like I feel like a proud parent, because like I got to see like my boys doing so good and doing so well. So I hope you have the same sentiment, because it's just one of those ones where I think the landscape has changed, and we are in for one beautiful ride when it comes to this Bloodline 2.0 and the future of the division, because there is a definite change in the air now.
Yeah, I'm always acknowledging both of them, man. It feels like watching like your cousins just do real in life. So,
yeah.
Like, it's like you can't hate, man. You just gotta like, bro, I just want to hug you, bro. Like, you're doing so well. I'm proud of you. Like, I'm just excited to see what they do. It's gonna be great.
Exactly. All right, guys, don't throw the ones up. All right, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on for all notifications that are the Straight Shoot Wrestling Podcast. Malcolm, thank you so much for joining. This is not going to be the last time we have you on here. I definitely appreciate you. And guys, don't forget to check out the next video right up here.